1460 AD, 53:54 AM. Near the mountains of Bern, Switzerland, miners digging for metals at a depth of 100 feet discovered a completely entombed wooden ship carved with well-fashioned ornamentation. Its masts were broken and an anchor was found. To the horror of the miners, they also discovered among the timbers of the strange vessel 40 human skeletons of men that had died in the boat. For other impossible discoveries of ships found inside mountains, see 1503 and 1540. In this year, Leonardo of Pistoia found the lost Corpus Hermeticum, an ancient Greek text copied from an older language and attributed to Hermes Enoch. The Hermeticum refers to those before the flood as, quote, leaving great memorials of their works on the earth, unquote. Many believe this to be a reference to the Sphinx and Great Pyramid Complex, Karnak, Newgrange and Stonehenge. The Hermeticum became popular throughout Europe for its philosophical and wisdom content, and copies were easily distributed with the printing press, which served as a major stimulus for the Renaissance in Europe. Also in 1460, Nicolaus of Cusa published his The Sieving of the Quran, research demonstrating that the writings used to compose the Muslim Quran were not of divine inspiration, but from purely human historical events. Prince Henry the Navigator died, a true credit to Portugal, a man of extraordinary vision and talent, who collected many old maps of the world. Perhaps not coincidentally, in this same year, Christopher Columbus was born as Cristobal Colon, a Genoan Jew. 1. Secret cities of old South America. 2. Mysteries and magic. 3. The discoverers. 1461 AD, 53:55 AM. Muhammad II, the Conqueror, set out to kill Vlad Dracul. Dracula, as he was being called at this time, as well as the Impaler, was feared and despised for his atrocities in Europe, but he was admired for his war exploits against the Turks. In his own kingdom of Wallachia in Transylvania, he removed all threats to the security of the realm. He refused to allow Jews into his administration. As a youth, he was a prisoner of the Turks and had spent several years growing up among them, seeing how the Turks employed Jews everywhere in their administration. Vlad was aware that the Jews had aided the Turks against Constantinople and acted as spies in Europe for the Turks against the Christian Europeans. In this year, the Turks invaded Wallachia and Vlad led his men in a series of raids against the immense Turkish army train, kidnapping Turks and bringing them back to his castle, called Tigoviste, in the dark of night. When the Turks under Mahmud arrived to Tigoviste, they were met with a ghastly sight. A clearing in the woods in front of the castle, with 20,000 people impaled on poles in the air, many decomposing and others still alive, moaning and whimpering in pain. The Muslim Turks recognized instantly many of the victims were from their own army, and they had just got there. Dracula escaped and the Turks fled the country. 1. Jewish supremacism. 1462 AD, 53:56 AM. Johannes Trithemius was born, mystic and chronologist, whose writings were studied by Nostradamus. He dated the very beginning of time at the beginning of the 5th millennium BC, long prior to the 6,000-year timeline for man's curse, long known to the ancients. As shown in CHRONICON 1, the history of the Anunnaki as related to Earth began in 5239 BC, and the history of mankind, Homo sapiens sapiens, created from pre-existing life forms in 4039 BC. Trithemius died in 1516. 1469 AD, 53:63 AM. Niccolo Machiavelli, born, died 1527, author of The Prince, The Art of War and the Discourses. He was an historian and philosopher, and he listed all of the 10 kingdoms of Europe that brought about the fall of Rome, though he himself was unaware of the prophecies concerning the 10 Israelite-descended kingdoms, c. 476 AD. 1472 AD, 53:66 AM. A particularly bright comet appeared and was studied by Johannes Muller, who made positional observations for later astronomers. A secret Portuguese voyage sailed to America, captained by João Vaz Corterio, known as Teles, and guided by the Norse pilot named Potthorst. This was 110 years after the Norse Goth expedition from Norway sailed to North America and left the Kensington runestone in 1362. This is exactly 148 years, 1776 months, before the Pilgrims would land in North America at Plymouth Rock in 1620. Leonardo da Vinci is born, died 1519, an artist, architect, visionary and inventor of rifle-type firearms, link chains, and was the first to date events in the past using tree rings, dendrochronology. He imagined the submarine, parachute, aircraft and many such things we in the 21st century take for granted. 1. Introduction to comets. 2. Pirates and the Lost Templar Fleet. 1475 AD, 5369 AM. The very first book printed in the English language using the printing press was Recueil of the History of Troy. This is intriguing, for Troy was a maritime empire controlling the Hellespont and a member of the Sea Peoples Federation until its fall in 1229 BC. The early Roman traditions held that Trojans fled to Italy and also sailed around the whole of Europe under Brutus and Cornelius and founded Troia Nova, New Troy, known as London, England, on the discoverers. 1476 AD, 5370 AM. Vlad the Impaler is assassinated and his head is taken to Constantinople, now called Istanbul, where the Turks prominently display it upon a stake. This is the 1000th year after the fall of Rome, Vlad having ruled a land that would come to be called Romania.